Want me to say something or what?
Music on Mondays.
Huh?
Mr. Summing, what is today? What is today?
Music on Monday.
What's up, Hawk Nation? We got Music on Mondays for you, episode 2. I'm your host, Tyler Trainer. We got Andrew Henkel in the studio for you here today with his first song, Numbers. Take it away, Andrew.
I've been sleeping in later than I'm used to now. I've been scrolling through my phone, waiting for you to respond. I've been getting a little out of hand sometimes, thinking I don't need to wait anymore, that now is the time. Don't go crazy now, you're only 16 and you're dreaming about her. You've got a ways to go until you call her yours. Dancing on the tabletop, thinking about her all day long. Is it a problem if my motivation is someone who doesn't know if I'm hers or I'm taken? Yeah, counting numbers like petals on a flower, and I can't slow down. I've been trying to start conversations, but I can't seem to find an equation. Like 1 + 1 = 2, and that's all I wanna do with you. It's kinda like taking the square root of 16 and dividing that root by 2. Don't go crazy now, you're only 16 and you're dreaming about her. You've got a ways to go until you call her yours. Dancing on the tabletop, thinking about her all day long. Is it a problem if my motivation is someone who doesn't know if I'm hers or I'm taken? Yeah. Hers or I'm taken, yeah. Hers or I'm taken, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Hers or I'm taken. Don't go crazy now, you're only 16 and you're dreaming about her. You've got a ways to go until you call her yours. Don't go crazy now, you're only 16 and you're dreaming about her. You've got a ways to go until you call her yours. Dancing on the tabletop, thinking about her all day long. Is it a problem if my motivation is someone who doesn't know if I'm hers or I'm taken? Yeah.
All right, Andrew, welcome here. I was like, so, Andrew's fresh off of his album release, Lonely. Talk to us a little bit about this album. What does Lonely mean to you?
Yeah, so kind of going into this album, I started making some demos, and like while I was working on the projects, I realized that there were so many different genres sort of put into this album, and I wrapped the whole thing up with this last song that's called Lonely. So it's like the song that's the title of the album, and that song meant the most to me out of all the songs on the album. So I kind of just rolled with that, and there's like a backstory behind that song, and I'm going to play it for you later, so I'm excited to see what you guys think of it.
All right, well, we can't wait to hear it. You're talking about genres. What genre would you kind of put yourself into? Does Andrew Henkel fit in a genre? I know you like to touch around with a lot of different styles.
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I think what I've been doing mostly right now is experimenting. So I've been just messing around with different genres, like you were saying. and I'm trying to find one that I really click with. And right now I'm sort of leaning towards that acoustic indie, like love song type genre. But who knows? Maybe I'm gonna be like a rock star or something. I don't know.
Well, I think we can all agree music is a very personal thing to all of us. So tell us, what are some of your inspirations for this album? What kind of inspired you to go on this path to release your first album?
Yeah, in the past year, I've converted from homeschooling to public school, so I've met a lot of people. And so getting a lot of connections and stuff, it sort of like opened me up to a new sort of state of life. I sort of felt more, what's the word? I felt more connected to my community, if that makes sense. Instead of just being at home, I was out there doing stuff, going to games, you know, basketball games, supporting my friends, and really just, like I said, a lot of emotion. So I would say with that being said, I try to just kind of put that into every single song here.
So kind of off topic, the music, going to homeschooling to public school, what was that like for you? Was that a big change? How dramatic was that?
Yeah, it was a pretty big jump, I will say. I went from having like all the time in the world to focus on whatever I wanted to, mostly music and piano and stuff like that, to just like having my whole life just captivated around what people were telling me to do. And that really did drive a lot of the emotion in this album. It's just like feeling overwhelmed and just feeling like lonely at times or just being stressed. So yeah, it was a lot, but in the end, I've really enjoyed it because it's sort of a taste of the real world and sort of what's out there. So.
Right. So you would say that school has impacted this album a lot?
I would definitely say so. I mean, every single song on this album really came from an experience I had within the last year in public school with different friends and different like relationships, stuff like that.
So looking at a little bit more into your albums, you got a lot of singles out. Talk about those. What kind of came out of those singles? I know Fight For Me is your biggest one at the moment with the most streams.
Yeah.
Give us a little insight.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing with all of those is mostly just for fun. Like, there's things on all those songs that I would go back and change now if I could. But my biggest thing there was I wanted to get used to what it's like to record stuff, record instruments, record vocals, put it all together, mix it. There are stories behind it. All the singles I've released so far have mostly just been like things I've used to test like what's out there and what I can do with my own, I guess, skills, I should say. So this album is really my first thing I would say is really like I have an emotional connection to.
All right. What do you want people to take away from this first album of yours?
Honestly, what I really want people to see in this album is how slight imperfections can still be a form of art. Because I listen to it and I notice all the things that I did wrong. And I could spend forever just perfecting every little thing. But the way I look at it is I'm here to express myself how I am in that moment. So like some of those vocals, I recorded them after going through what the song was about. Like there was one song, the last song, Lonely. It had happened the night before. I wrote that song, recorded the vocals the next day, and like the slight imperfections in the vocals were just what I was going through in that moment. So that's really what I want people to get out of it. It's like when you hear something and something like something stands out to you, that's something that I want to keep in there because it shows that I was there at that one point. You know what I mean?
So you're really kind of digging into these imperfections in this album. You feel like that kind of makes it more unique to you.
Yeah, and I mean, not to use it as an excuse that like I can't be better, but like, you know what I mean? I feel like you could take, like I said, you could take all the time in the world to make something perfect, and I don't want that to hold me back from, you know, just getting more comfortable with doing this kind of stuff. Something that really stood out to me during this process was I leaked one of my songs on Instagram, and it ended up getting like 30,000 views, and like over 100 comments of people saying, oh my goodness, this could be better, oh my goodness, this could be better, but also got comments of people saying, oh, I love this. And that's when I was like, holy cow, like you really put it out there and it's all subjective. And so like, yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing there, I would say.
Right now you are pulling out some pretty impressive numbers with Instagram. Tell us how that kind of feels going from being homeschooled to now school, and then on top of that you're adding all these numbers and all these new eyes onto you. What goes through your brain with all of this?
Yeah, it's definitely pressure, like I guess I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers. That's like a goal of mine in this next year. And I guess as those numbers keep going up, I'm just realizing there's more people that are watching me. Like things I do, people can see. And if I put it out there, the whole world has it. And it's a bit scary, I will say. It's a little intimidating, but I'm always reminded that as long as I go in and I record stuff that means a lot to me and it's personal to like my own feelings, that I'm not gonna care as much about what other people think as long as I know that I'm happy doing it. Although like feedback has been my biggest form of improvement. So yeah, a lot of emotions, that's for sure.
All right, well, we got to get cut into you playing your first song. We're all ready to hear it, dude.
Let's do it.
1,000 miles just to see you as I used to. And I would look a million different ways to see you as I used to. But it's never been the same since I underwent the pain. But you still love me the same. And I can't believe after everything you'd still fight for me. I would dream of a far-off place where I can see you right with me. But here I am, and I will always know that no matter how I try, you still want me. But it's never been the same since I underwent the pain. But you still love me the same. And I can't believe after everything you'd still fight for me. You'd still fight for me. Oh, oh. You'd still fight for me. And I can't believe after everything, 'cause it's never been the same since I underwent the pain. But you still love me the same. And I can't believe after everything you'd still fight for me.
All right, Andrew, thanks for playing that song for us real quick. All right, we're going to dive right back into it real quick. So with this album, and we're talking numbers real quick, how do you want this to represent you, and what are you looking at for streams on this? Are you looking for this to go somewhere really big, or are you just this a personal project for you?
Yeah, I would say to like summarize it, like definitely mostly a personal project. I have this like little internal fight of like I want to release a song that does better than Fight For Me. I want to hit over 2,500 streams on a song, and I do believe that some of these songs, the quality of like their projects and like what went into them, I think it's the best quality stuff I've done so far. But I don't want it to get out into the world and people to look at that as like, oh, that's as good as he's gonna get, because like my biggest thing is ever since releasing my first song like 5 months ago, I have grown like so much. And so I definitely want this to be a checkpoint, and I just want it to reflect like progress mostly. So.
Okay, yeah. So talking about numbers, how do you deal with numbers not always going your way? I know Fight For Me was doing really well, but I know your next singles didn't perform how you would like them to. What kind of goes through your head? How do you feel about stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a little bit demoralizing, I'll be honest, because I look at my own improvement in all the songs. Like I think every single song I've upgraded something that I've personally noticed, but then like I'm still getting like the same amount of streams per day on Fight For Me, and it's like it makes me wonder like, what do people really want? You know what I mean? Yes. So yeah, I mean, I would say yeah, mostly just it made me a little bit sad. But it also challenged me to be like, all right, well, if that didn't go as well as I wanted it to, then I'm just going to keep trying to get something that will. And I mean, a huge thing with that is I feel like a lot of the songs I've released so far have been in this community and like in Nebraska, staying around here. And what I really want to happen is to get songs that get out into the world. So like when I leaked that one song, I got 30,000 views. That was when it got leaked to the world. Like the whole world found out about it, got into the algorithms, and it started going around. People were sharing it, it has more shares than likes, which is not a good thing. But you know what I mean? Like that's sort of the idea there. Try to get something that the world notices rather than just this community. So I think that with me having released my first song, people were like, oh, he released something, and then it got old pretty quick. But when you like span it out to 7 billion people, then you know it gets a little bit different.
So with all this, we're talking numbers again. You're trying to release almost a song every day. It feels like. What is that writing process like for putting out so much music so quickly? I mean, Fight For Me only came out in September, and we're already releasing another album.
That's true. Yeah, I guess my thought behind that is I don't know what it is. Something about like songwriting really clicks for me, and like I have a funny story to tell you about one of the last songs I'm going to play today, and I'll get to that later. I would say every single time I have an idea, I want to share it, and it might be a little extreme to be like, oh, you have an idea, so you're just going to share it on Spotify so the whole world can see it. But one of my huge role models, John Michael Howell, I started listening to him when he had 6,000 monthly listeners, and he decided he was going to release a song every single week. He's been doing that for about a year now. He's at 1.5 million monthly listeners. He's got like 250,000 followers on Instagram, and he's just been putting out songs. And there's things in all those songs that like I'm sure he looks at and he's like, that could have been better. But he doesn't let that hold him back from just like putting himself out there. So that's really motivated me. So I guess like what I was talking about earlier with that last song I'm going to perform. Yesterday I had this idea. No, it was actually Saturday. It was 2 days ago. I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and I had this like vocal melody that came through my head. And so I actually like recorded it quick as I was like walking back to my room to like work on music. And I ended up putting on my Snapchat story. And then I was listening to it back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna add guitar to it. So I added a guitar to it. And then just yesterday, I was listening to that again. I was like, I'm just gonna finish it. And now I have a whole new song to play for you guys today, which I keep telling myself this, but like I think it's the best song I've ever written. So it's like every single time there's like something new. There's a new chord progression, a new vocal line, or like there's just something about it that I like more about than most like the previous song that I've written.
So we're talking about a lot of numbers and bringing people into you. What is the first thing that you want new listeners to know about Andrew Henkel? What's the first thing you want them to see?
Yeah, I want them to see someone who has a lot of motivation and drive for like music in general. I really like have huge goals, and really I'm like willing to put in as much work as it takes to get there. So I want them to see someone who knows that I'm not where I want to be yet. Someone who knows that there's just so much out there yet for me to learn.
So not to beat the dead horse, but going back to Fight For Me, what was that feeling releasing something very personal? Listening into this song, it's a very heartfelt, emotional, driven, almost ballad. What did that feel like putting it in there? Were you nervous for people to listen to this?
Yeah, I was super nervous. I don't know, like, and I still listen to that song now, like I was saying, and like I noticed the things about it that I just don't really like. But then to see how much people like reacted to it in a good way, it really made me realize that when you just put emotion behind it, when you put like your true feelings behind it, it can really move a lot more people than you might expect. So, yeah.
So what are the plans after this album? What's next for Andrew?
Yeah, I have actually some like huge projects coming up. So it's gonna be like this album's gonna come out, and I don't think I'm gonna think about it too much. I'm just gonna be like, it's out there, just whatever happens, happens, and I'm just gonna keep pushing forward. I have like 5 new songs after these 5 songs drop. Actually at this point they did drop. Yeah, since these 5 songs have dropped, just kind of rolling into like more music like every month. I'm trying to do 1 song a month and hopefully get even more at that point. So yeah, trying to cultivate that like online fan base as well, just so that it's not like people getting tired of it around here. People are like, oh, you're releasing more music. It's like there's always new people that listen to it. So.
Talking with new music, what's your quality control? What makes you feel like this song is good to go out? I want people to listen to this. What's that mindset? What are you thinking when you're getting ready to release one? What are all the boxes that you got to check?
Yeah, a lot of music for me personally is feeling. Like I'll listen to a song and like it will give me chills, or like I'll listen to a song and it'll make me smile. So like what I look for before I release a song is, does my own music do that to me? Like I'll listen to my song Numbers and I'll just like be bopping my head, or I'll listen to like my song Lonely and it will just like it'll make me sad. You know what I mean? So when I'm writing a song, when I'm mixing it, putting all the instruments together, I'm really thinking about how it makes me feel. The quality, like the sound quality, obviously is a huge part of it. But if I try new things and if it sounds a certain way and I get this certain feeling, that's where my like gut feeling is just go.
So going from your first single to now an album, what do you feel like has changed? Do you feel like anything there to right here?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I would say my workflow has changed tremendously. I really have like buckled down on like going from starting the songwriting process to like just getting out a fully recorded and mixed song. So that's just become super streamlined, and it's been a really smooth process ever since my first song. It's just been a lot less like moving around and grabbing stuff. It's like I'm just sitting down, all my stuff's there, and it's been really smooth. So I'd say just like as far as efficiency goes, that's been my biggest like jump.
All right, we're getting ready to cut away to you playing one more song. Before that, you said you got stuff next for us. When can we expect to hear some of these new projects?
Honestly, I want to try something with these new songs. I want to put them out, see how they do, like before they release, like pre-release type stuff, and try to get some hype up behind it, and then go from there. Because these songs I've been putting a lot of work into. One of them I've actually been working on since after Fight For Me, and I still haven't released it because I'm like really trying to put a lot of work into it. And so yeah, that song's like 3 months in the books, and I still have a lot of ideas for it, so I'm like holding it off. So trying to get hype up behind that so that I can release stuff and it just takes off like right away. So gonna do some social media experiments for sure.
All right. Yeah. Thank you again for coming and showing up. Your second ever guest.
Yeah.
Ready? Couldn't wait to play your last song, man. We hope you kill it. Isaac, we hope we see you here again. Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
I write you another song, would that change anything at all? Because I'm not who I want to be right now. If I hold you in my arms, would you think of me the same? Because I wanna love you, I wanna love you. As the time rolls by, changing outside, and you're falling into his arms, I'm still here and I feel alive, but this doesn't seem real. Going to sleep again, and I'm feeling lonely, but I don't know what's good for me. If I run for 100 miles, would you wait at the end for me? Because I'm too tired to love myself right now. All I want is to take a break from these distractions in my face. I wish you would know. As the time rolls by, changing outside, and you're falling into his arms, I'm still here and I feel alive, but this doesn't seem real. Going to sleep again, and I'm feeling lonely, but I don't know what's good for me.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This has been an absolute pleasure. My name is Andrew Henkel, if you hadn't caught that already. You can look me up on Instagram at Andrew Henkel. I'm also there on Spotify and Apple Music, Amazon Music, all the things. So yeah, I'd really appreciate the support. If you'd be willing to check me out, drop a follow. That would be really appreciated. I got one more song for you guys. This song's unreleased, but it's called Take Me Back.
Ignorance, innocence, all the things I still miss. Waking up feeling fine, no regrets in my mind. But how could you love me when I'm not like myself? And how could you trust me when I can't trust myself? I know something you don't, 'cause all that I know is how bad I'm falling for you. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't know a thing about love. Selfish roads traveled by people like me when I can't find myself. Endless distractions that keep me from you because I'm too scared you'll hate me for who I really am. Please love me if you can, 'cause I know something you don't, 'cause all that I know is how bad I'm falling for you. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't know a thing about love. Love, yeah. Take me back to when I was a kid. Take me back to when I was out of it. Take me back to when your smile was all that I saw. Take me back to when I felt like a man, 'cause I'm older now and haven't grown up from a selfish, prideful person who can't give up. I know something you don't, 'cause all that I know is how bad I'm falling for you. Take me back to when we were kids. I know something you don't, 'cause all that I know is how bad I'm falling for you. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't know a thing about love. Love, just take me back. Oh, take me back to when I didn't know about love.
All right, that's all we have for you guys today. Andrew's new album, Lonely, is streaming now, all platforms. Next week, stay tuned. We got the OG BGATs. We'll see you guys then.